Today's conversation is a panel discussion among two breeders who specialize in wild type replication in captivity, and two scientists and naturalists who have been documenting this species in the wild. Thorsten Negro and Alex Laube have put together one of the most critical resources to us in the Panther chameleon hobby. And Lee Reddy and Amanda Reddy at Reddy's Rainforest have produced some of the best quality Ambanja locale animals that I've ever seen. I think that they also have an amazing appreciation for this species and pose some great questions to Thorsten and Alex in this roundtable discussion. I hope that you enjoy it. This is pardalis. Welcome to the pardalis podcast as a part of the Chameleon Academy Network. I'm here with Thorsten Negro, Alex Laube, and Amanda and Ali Reddy from Reddy's Rainforest to talk to you guys today about Panther chameleon locales. And I'm personally very excited about this conversation because I remember from day one getting involved as a breeder, looking at the content that Alex and Thorsten have put together on MadChamDE. It's one of the most important sources of information for people internationally about this species, and I'm extremely excited about this opportunity. So I'm gonna give everybody an opportunity to introduce themselves. So Lee and Amanda, you guys want to start, and then we'll go to Thorsten and Alex.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. I am Amanda Reddy of Reddy's Rainforest, and this is...
I'm Lee Reddy from Reddy's Rainforest. We're a small-time breeder of Panther chameleons. Been doing it for many years. Main focus is in Ambanja locality, is what we work with. We do some other localities, but our main focus has been in Ambanja.
We started breeding in 2000.
Awesome. Yeah, some of my favorites for sure.
Yeah.
I love what you guys do. And Thorsten?
Yeah, my name is Thorsten. I'm photographer and tour operator for chameleon travels in Madagascar, and I'm chameleon keeper and breeder since 33 years ago. And now at the moment, I keep with my wife Alex Parsons chameleons, and we breed them. And we are running the website madcam.de and try to, to collect as much as possible data to show the people how the reality in Madagascar looks like.
Awesome. And Alex?
Hi, I'm Alex, and I'm a veterinarian for small animals and especially reptiles in Germany. And in my free time, I'm visiting Madagascar for, 11 years now, I think. And my dissertation project was about panther chameleons. That's related to Madagascar, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm keeping chameleons at home since 2006 or 7, I think.
Very cool.
And I've started with panther chameleons too, of course.
Yeah. So I'm probably the newest to this because I started in 2015.
Oh.
Yeah. But can you talk to us a little bit about your dissertation? I'm curious. I know we're going to be on another topic entirely, but I'm curious to hear a little bit about that.
It was about panther chameleons kept in terrariums in Switzerland, Germany, and I think we did some in Belgium too.
Okay.
I think it was Belgium. And
Okay.
we had around 100 panther chameleons from private people, and we took blood and did the first records of blood chemistry and hematology.
Very cool. That's awesome. Okay, so then I want to say initially that what my experience has been with your content, and then give you guys an opportunity to talk about how you collect it, how do you assemble it, and it's been years, right, since you put it together. And when I came to it in 2015, I remember seeing the temperature data, the size data, all of the images, which were invaluable for us in trying to piece together all the stuff that we're seeing in the captive breeding market in the United States and connect it to Madagascar. So on the one hand, we have a lot of information for husbandry to try to mimic what we see in the wild. And then on the other hand, we have visual data on what you are actually finding in those locations. And that was, it was impossible to try to come up with this without that resource. It was truly essential to trying to breed the species, in my opinion. So, and Lee and Amanda, have you had a similar experience, or how have you come to the content?
Yes. So I refer to their website quite a bit.
Yeah.
I like looking at a lot of the pictures. I really like the 3D picture they do of the areas, the landscape.
Oh yeah.
Lets you understand where they're from, and reference pictures. I mean, they're great for trying to look at some of the animals that get imported or exported from Madagascar and comparing them to them. Right?
Well, or even ours, they'll fire up a certain color, and I'm like, is that in us?
Right.
Have I seen that before?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
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 Cool.
There's a lot of great information on there, and temperature ranges too. I mean, some panther chameleon localities, like the Simbabas, they seem to like it a little warmer in their basking spot, and sometimes they don't. Like Ambanja. And I'm sure I'm saying all the localities wrong. Maybe I need to get on their website and listen.
Press all those buttons, listen to the...
Yes.
Yeah.
No, Ambanja is not actually completely wrong. It's Ambanja. But Ambanja is also completely okay. We also call it Ambanja.
Okay.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, and I've been saying Laube, right? No.
Big mistake.
You say it correctly. Say it correctly. Ambilobe. Okay, I'm gonna try to update my
check
pronunciation.
the website, and there is a sound file on it, and then you can see or hear how to pronounce it correctly. When you ask in Madagascar, where's whatever you say, maybe you miss the village that you want to jump.
Okay, thank you.
We say it Ambilobe.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Maybe it's somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. So Thorsten, can you talk to us a little bit about the beginning of this project and how you got started?
Yeah, I'm from Germany, and we have the biggest reptile fair here in Germany. It's in Hamm, and twice a year we met out there, and a lot of people come, chameleon people. And they are talking so much things. How to say? I can't get it, but they say because everything was bull. Some people who talk so much, they never been there, and they say, it looks like that, it looks like that, but it doesn't. And I said, I have to start to collecting data, starting to collect pictures, how the animals look like, just to collect the real information. Know my opinions about anything, just the reality, and the people should decide for themselves what they use for information and what not.
Great. That's awesome. So you came to it from the beginning, knowing that there was a problem, in the German market, and people were just saying
international.
Oh yeah, sorry.
It was an international problem. The people
Still
are talking. Yellow chameleon was always from Diego Suarez. Ambilobe was not that famous in this time. 13 years ago, it was Diego Suarez, Nosibe, Tamataf. All these colomorphs was common, but for Ambanja, especially, there are mixed colomorphs. Yeah, you go in a destination for a cacao plantation in Ambanja, and then you go inside, and then you see a blue one, and 5 meters close by, you see a red one, and how to tell to the people, I can't say it's an Ambanja or not an Ambanja what you keep in your terrariums, because it's a mixed colomorph. The same is for Ambilobe. Ambilobe and Sirama was two different colomorphs, but there was a river who cut both areas in two parts, but they put the bridge over the small rivers or several bridges and cut all the plants over there, and then now you have a mix from Sirama and Ambilobe everywhere.
Interesting.
Sirama was always blue bark, and Ambilobe was red bark, and now it's a mix of both.
That is really interesting information, because I've been trying to dig into that exact question, the blue bar versus red bar, and we've been trying to work on looking at the genetics of the Ambilobe group, because because the when we looked at like the 2015 study, there were measurable from Gerbic, and I'm not sure exactly how to say his name, but Gerbic et al. 2015, there were two distinct haplogroups around in the Ambilobe region, and over towards Suriname.
Sirama.
How do you say it?
Sirama.
Sirama. Yeah, over towards the S, that's the town that starts with an S that we don't talk about in the captive breeding community. There was a different group, right? And that was 2015. How recent would you say some of the mixing has become more common?
I think it starts already in 2010.
2010.
In 2010,
okay.
The people from Ambilobe cut every tree and build a lot of bridges to carry the planting corn. They're planting corn, and to carry the way, they build a lot of bridges, and the Panther chameleon cross it and then move in the other direction.
Yeah.
Right.
So do you think that there were before that time two distinct locales, and then after that time they just kind of mixed at the border region, or how would you articulate what happened there?
The colors was totally different. When you go to Sirama, it was different. They are lime green always, and have blue bars. And in Ambilobe directly, they are also green, but darker, a little bit like an army green with red bars or orange bars.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this is over.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And that's really interesting. I've personally tried to avoid those red bars in my captive breeding project, because I'm like, they look so different. I don't want to mix that into my Ambilobe project. So that's very cool. Alex, can you talk to us a little bit about your role in the project and some of the things that you've helped bring to the MadCamDE?
Yeah, I think Thorsten began it with a friend in 2010. And this friend stopped with keeping chameleons, I think in 2013 when Thorsten and I met. And this is where I joined in. Because they had a really small website with some locals and some pictures, very small pictures, and only a few, and only a few species. And it was like, yeah, there's a website, and from time to time we're doing something. And I was like, oh, cool. Then maybe let's start to collect some more data and get some more temperatures exactly from the places where the chameleons are, and not from some temperature stations in the city, because the chameleons usually are not in the city. And not on roofs. Yeah. And then it became more and more. Yeah, and now it's a lot of years, and we got a lot of data.
So we can thank you for that. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't know. Yes and no.
Yeah.
It's not a one-man thing or one-woman thing.
How big is the team that helps collect some of this stuff? Or is it really just the two of you guys?
Actually, I'm collecting most data, but the official team is me, Thorsten, and Dimby, who's a Malagasy friend of us.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, of course, we got a bigger team. The Tanala Horizon team from Thorsten is helping, but they're not collecting data.
Okay.
So they drive cars, and they give us hints if they find something nice. They send pictures and say, look what I found. It's new, maybe. And yeah, they're trying to help us.
That's good data. So
yeah,
Lee, yeah, sorry, Thorsten, what were you going to say?
Yeah, we have a big network of local guides, and also some of these guides are collecting data over the year, soil temperatures and...
Yeah, the soil temperature, that was a project with local guides, because we are not all year round in Madagascar. We have normal jobs in Germany. So we had to ask reliable people, because it's always the problem if you talk to people and say, oh, I need soil temperatures from these and these and these places. They're all like, yeah, well, let's do it. And then you're gone. And then you don't hear from them for a year, and they did nothing. So you need to look for reliable people, which we found in some local guides. And the soil temperature thing, I think we began it in 2015 or 16.
Okay.
And we got a lot of probes in Madagascar, but not so much data back. but in the end, it's becoming more and more. So we got now data from the Eastern Highlands. We got data from the West. We got some data from the East North. And so... it's getting more, but it takes time. Like everything in Madagascar takes a lot of time.
And what is it about soil temperature that we want from, whether from a scientific standpoint or from a captive husbandry standpoint?
No, it's more from a captive view, because it's just for the incubation data.
Yeah.
Because we had, I don't know how much you're into parsons. We had a lot of problems in the beginning of parsons keepings with the right incubation temperatures. And I think it started in the 90s in Germany. And they had a lot of trials which went completely wrong, and a lot of lost eggs and lost juveniles. And so now that we got the soil temperatures, we can adapt them for other species too, because honestly, in most areas, there is not only one species living like parsons. There's normally several species. So we can use the soil temperatures for all of them. And they are working, as we know. And we also have from Ankara Fonseca in the west, for example, we had some people from Turtle Island in Austria, which is an research and conservation center for very, very rare turtles. And they also use our data, because they have some turtles digging their eggs somewhere close to the lake where we measured. And so they're also using, because no one has ever hatched these turtles in Austria and in Germany before.
Wow. That's awesome. That's really cool. So, I mean, we all know the value of the work that you guys do, because we're using it to try to make adjustments every day. And that's a really cool story. So for Lee and Amanda, you guys had some questions related to the Ambanja locale that I know you guys wanted to ask. And and some of them are related to mine as well. So,
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
So, many years ago, we knew somebody that was over there in Madagascar, and he would always tell us that there was some Ambanjas near Ambanja, but not really in the town. Correct? Usually they're outside of the town, more in the woods and the agricultural areas. And how he noticed that the color phases seem more red bar the more north you went from Ambanja, or more towards the, I guess, what would that be? West, heading towards Inkafi, or not Inkafi.
Yeah, Inkafi's out west.
Yeah.
But
you would
northwest.
get more of the yellow body type with more of a bluer bar. I was wondering if y'all saw that, or is it all just kind of in general just random color
everywhere.
reality?
When you go from Ambanja to Ankifi, then you have to cross a mangrove area.
Yes.
And this you can see as a border.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And this mangrove area, it's not only 50 meters, it's around 5 kilometers.
Yes.
The mangrove belt
About
around
2 miles.
Ankifi. And I don't think that a panther chameleon go on the street, walk along and say, oh, I have to go to Ankifi, they have a nice beach. The thing is, Ambanja have, when you look on the cacao plantation, it's totally mixed. You have red bars, you have blue bars close by. But when you want to see the real, like in the past we called them blue diamonds, because they
Yes.
have blue bars and then white dots and rubin red dots inside of the blue bars, really shiny. That's why we call them diamonds. But then you have to go, when you come from the south, then you have to cross the river, the Sambirano River. Then you have to go upstream the river for around 15 kilometers. Then you see some small islands inside of the river. There you have to stop, build your tent, and stay there for 3 or 4 nights to check out. But all the chameleons over there have the blue bars. They're really all the same color, nearly the males.
Oh,
Yes.
cool. So
But
pretty
I think
uniform.
with the yellow stuff, I think the Ankifi hunters have a more yellowish color on the head. So so in my experience, the more you get closer to Ankifi, the more there is a little more yellow on the head. But it's actually behind the mangroves and around the mangroves, not on the Ambanja side.
Yes.
Yeah.
So and then the other stuff with the bars, I think this whole bar thing, this whole thing with those colored bars is only a captivity thing. You can't see it in the wild, not really. I think that's something people who were not in Madagascar have seen because some importers have declared it, maybe.
Right.
Or some people just wanted to sell for more money because it's more special to have different bars or different colors. But the whole Ambanja region is, you have everything. There's not one region where you have only blue and not only one region where you have more red. All around Ambanja is one, except the Sambirano somewhere closer to the coast. But the part around Ambanja is all the same.
Yes, I remember whenever we first got into this, everybody called that the rainbow locality because there were so many color variations in that locality. More blue bar, more red bar, mixed colored bar,
purple bars,
more bluer body, more forest green body. It was
the original rainbow.
Yeah, pretty.
Hey now.
It was.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah, but that's also a problem of captivity because people in Germany, we had, I think it was 15 years ago, we had an exporter called the one local Picasso. It was an ambilobe.
Oh my gosh,
of course.
yeah.
And people were completely wild with, oh, we have a Picasso chameleon. It's completely special, and it costs, I don't know, 5 times the normal ambilobe price.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went to Madagascar, and we're like, yep, but it's an ambilobe. It's not a special. There is no Picasso village, and there's no Picasso river or anything. And there were even some invented villages from exporters. I don't know which. I have to check. There was a name with an A, and we have searched this village for, or river or mountain or whatever, for I think 15 years now, and we haven't found it. And I'm pretty sure there isn't one with this name.
Yeah.
So some things are just invented by exporters or sellers just to make a little more money because it's special. It's not.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then so like in the Ambanja region, I mean it's such a large region. So it has the mangrove coast to it, but once you start going more north, you run into, I guess, a different locality, right? Do you see any interbreeding in between Ambanja and the next aligning locality?
That's a good
Like,
question.
is there any natural barriers or anything like that, or do you see a color transition?
Yes, there are rivers.
Large river.
Yes. But the curious thing is, on Facebook, I saw Lee is talking about Ambatube.
Yes.
But Ambatube is a small village on the opposite side of Nosifali, but it belongs to the area Ankifi. The interesting thing is why they are blue with red bars.
Yes. Yes.
That's it. Maybe when on our next tour, which starts on 22 March, we do a Panther chameleon tour, and then a few islands. We go to Nosifali, Nositanikeli, and Nosihara to check out also these localities. And maybe when we find the time, we will go back to Ambatu and try to check out. Yeah. But we have also a few drones with us, and we try to make pictures from above to see, is there a river or is there a natural barrier? Why they are not the same color like the Ankifi?
Yes, because Ambalto's always been a very interesting, I guess, locality in its own to me. I mean, it's very pretty to me, the color contrast of them. It'd be nice to see if there's a consistency in the population, just like other localities have consistencies, kind of like Nosy Folly has a consistency, Yeah.
And one topic that's come up a couple times now, and I personally try to read on your website to understand what constitutes a local form, and whether or not there is interbreeding with adjacent local forms. Those types of questions come up constantly in the hobby, and there's some people who make the argument that at the boundary area they all interbreed anyway, so it's not a big deal. We can just cross locales. Have you guys heard that type of an argument?
Yes,
how do you respond to that? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a common thing you hear in Germany too. I think that's the same like in the US. But actually, the locals in Madagascar don't mix. They just don't mix. There are natural barriers, otherwise they wouldn't be locals.
Yeah.
So, and there might be some rivers. I mean, if it's a really, really hot, dry season, there might be some rivers drying up or so. But if one panther is mixing with a neighboring local, it will not mix up the completely local.
Yeah.
I think it was a little wrong what I said with the translation, but
no, that's
I
correct.
think you understood what I wanted to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just
it's very clear.
only a few, even if a few can cross these borders, which might happen. I mean, there might be one panther chameleon a year which is walking on a human bridge. Might happen.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But this one panther chameleon will not make a completely different color with those thousands that are behind the barrier.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you have these one crossing, nothing will happen to the local. But if you do it in captivity, you only have 10. You don't have 2,000.
Yes.
Yeah.
So mixing here will make a much bigger impact.
Yes. exactly. And one there, I think there was a paper I saw where they were interested in the sexual preference of females based on the color of the males. And I was thinking, that might also slow the rate of mixing too, if there's some behavioral impacts from the local form that's there, that makes it less likely for that individual to succeed even in that larger group.
Yeah, but we might have some unintentional mixing also in captivity, because we know that some exporters have used some, because, the females, you can't tell which local it is just from the look.
Yeah.
So what happens if a not so reliable exporter has too few females from the local he wanted to have, but the people who brought the animals maybe have some females from somewhere else?
Yep.
He will just sell them as a different local. So you might buy some white-called Nosifali, but it might be a white-called Ankifi female. You never know.
Yeah.
So, and then you get some weird colors, maybe. And people say, oh yeah, but it's an Ankifi. I bought it as an Ankifi, but it's not, or as a Nosifali or whatever. So there might be some unintentional mixing even with people who don't want to mix locals. So what we see in captivity might not actually be the reality of Madagascar.
Yes,
and also
exactly.
You have the exporters, of course, the collector people, they are not the exporters. It's not the same people. So the collectors are usually really poor. They get not a lot of money for collecting. They have not a real idea what they're looking for, but they look for colorful chameleons. So what they are looking for is an easy way to get them. So they look for the chameleons closest to a village or an airport or wherever they have to bring them. And they look for colorful animals. So the less colorful animals that are part of the natural local will not reach the airport.
Yes. And
that's how you get those differences between the captivity locals and the real locals.
Yep. Yeah. And I also heard that if they don't have enough of the West Coast locales, and they're going to be sending the export out from the east, then often they could go and say collect a couple local females and mix it in, as it's just easier to access.
Yes.
Like easier to access that population based on where it's being exported. Is that accurate, or is that
Yes, because it's completely true, I think, because the streets in Madagascar are really, really in poor
condition.
State, yeah, poor condition, yes.
Yeah.
And to go 1,000 kilometers to the north is much more effort than to just go 200 to the east and take some females. Look the same.
Yep.
For the Malagasy, they look the same. So for them, it doesn't matter. They get money for this female.
Chameleons.
Yeah, for the chameleon. And why should they do all the efforts to go somewhere in the north when they can just collect them much closer to their home?
Yeah, when
exactly.
they're trying to fill a number, a quota type, yeah.
Yes.
And so that's one of the most common things that I try to look for is those Eastern traits. So like your reds or whites that are coming in weird places, where like with especially ambilobe. Ambilobe. When you see white coming in on the body, I'm always like, oh, they mixed in a eastern locale, but by accident or something.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
No, there are also some ambilobes with white heads and white stripes on the body, but I think they are not so colorful for the collectors. So it's something you see more in the wild and less in captivity.
Really cool.
But there are.
So yeah, I've seen a lot in captivity where it gets in like the Gular region, right? But you're saying that they're also like between the bars and the body section.
Yeah, I think. Let me check. I have to look at my own pictures.
You guys have to post them on MadCam for me, so I can keep myself honest.
Yes, I think we have some pictures online with the one very orange male with a almost completely white head. I think we get him.
Yes, I saw that one.
And there are some with some whitish parts of the body. It's not as much as a Tamataf or Tomasina male, but
a little bit.
I think you would not be able to say it's mixed in or it's an original Ambilobe.
So is there anything you could use to try to separate an animal out from the Ambilobe locale, or basically they have everything?
Yeah, no, they don't have everything, but they have a wide range of color, that's for sure.
Okay. Well, that's the challenge with me, is I specialize in, or at least I try to specialize in Ambilobe, and it's really hard.
You should stop thinking about it, because you get gray hair and lose your stop
Just
thinking
give
about
up.
it.
Yeah. No, I know. I agree. There's certain things that at the end of the day I know are personal preferences, right?
Yeah.
And they're not objective scientific facts. As much as we like the science, it's like at the end of the day you have to make choices about what you do as a breeder in the captive market. And I've had this question come up before where people say, hey, if you have two yellow body blue bar animals and you know that one is one is pure Ambilobe and the other one you're not quite sure of the lineage, like would you use it versus would you use, and you had no other choice, you have that option or you have the option of crossing a red with a yellow, which one would you choose? And you have no other choices. That's your world of choices. Like I would cross the locales and keep the yellow, right?
Maybe you just have to keep to tell the people who will buy from you that you're not sure it's a pure Ambilobe. So
exactly.
That would be reliable.
Exactly. To be straight up about what you do and don't know.
Yes, because if you see what annoys me a lot about the US locals is that you have some people saying they have Ambanja locals and it's just a color morph. So it's a extremely purple or extremely blue color, which does not occur in Madagascar, not at all. It's just a color morph. It's okay. Everyone can choose what he breeds. And I mean, we have ball pythons in every color of the world.
Yeah.
And you can do the same with chameleons, of course, but you should not name it a local.
Right,
It's not a local if it doesn't look completely like Madagascar.
Yeah, and those, I mean, not to hate on those specifically, but like, I think they're ugly. Like am I crazy? Because the thing is when you put the two colors together, like all the colors that they're mixing into that animal, it ends up looking grainy. It's not nice like a natural panther looks.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're not getting a definition of bar and body color. So
Fair.
you can tell. The majority of localities have a bar or a pattern, and then a body color.
And some have a reduced bar.
Yeah, but maybe that's a goal. If you don't want to have a special body color and to be different from the bars, I'm not the one to judge someone who is breeding colors, special colors. It's okay. Everyone does it, but you have to name it.
Yeah.
Be accurate. No, I totally agree with you, Alex. I'm glad that you raised that about the U.S. market, because what happens is long term it makes it really difficult for people like Lee and Amanda.
Yes.
Like how they can't work with that local form without being really careful about, hey, like what did you put like a blurple into this thing 2 generations ago that it's going to pop up and ruin my project? And that's a real concern.
Well, I had my one wild caught male, and I sat on him for almost a year or two before I found a female, a viable female to breed him to, because I was trying to not get a color morph in Ambanja. I wanted a wild type looking
as close to
Ambanja.
wild type as possible.
Right, and doing that is looking at the clutch mates from a pairing or something like that. Now, luckily, I found a captive bred version. And I bred that female, and the babies came out, and developed, and they look very Ambanja. And then I also got a few wild caught females that gave me eggs. So now I'm waiting with my fingers crossed.
Yeah, that those were supposed to be what they are.
That those are supposed to be Ambanja. So.
Yeah.
I breed, or I choose to breed more for the wild type look. I use y'all's website a lot for color reference. I'll look at the animals, and then I'll look at the animals I'm working with. Does that match? Does that look like that phenotype? And it has been very helpful.
Yeah, I do the exact same thing from the Laube region, which is not, I know it's not easy to do, but it's like I also choose to be specific within it, right? To go for yellows and yellows, reds and reds, and keep those separate. Keep the red bars out of it, if possible. But that's it's obviously very difficult, and most wild specimens that come in have a mix of traits, and so you're looking at the wild specimen and thinking like, how do I what do I do with this guy, because they're beautiful, but they don't follow the strict captive phenotypes that we've developed over the years. And I don't even know if phenotype's the right word. Alex, does that make you mad when I say that? It's okay. Okay, cool. I always have to check sometimes with the real scientist to make sure that I'm not butchering it. But for me, one thing I think is really interesting about the locale is that because of the diversity of color, you can stay within it and specialize. Right? There's so much going on that you can kind of work within it, or at least try to. And what is your opinion about that? Like, is there any benefit to trying to keep things even like pure within the locale, like to the type? Because how do you guys think about that as people who have seen the animals in the wild and work with it?
Yeah, I think we should try to keep the locals pure, because if we are thinking a little more in a large dimension regarding conservation issues, then we should also have some wild type specimen available in some years. Because if Madagascar is continuing slashing and burning their whole forests, then even the Panther chameleons will have problems somewhere. It may be in the future, and the other species will be gone before. The Panther chameleon might be one of the last, but there might be some smaller areas, just like Ankarami B, which is what you call Ankarami. That's not a really large area, so if they clear the whole area and the local is gone, there might be some possibility to reintroduce animals, but you can only do it if you kept it pure.
Yes.
I mean, there are some other issues like diseases you can introduce also, but just for this reason, I just would always try to keep it pure, or as pure as possible, as we said, because of the maybe unintentionally mixed up females. But if you do it intentionally, you have some population you can't do anything with in the future. You have a completely mixed up locality, or no locality at all anymore.
Right, yeah.
And then what to do with it?
Yeah.
Then it's only a pet. It's some domesticated pet with nice color.
Exactly.
And I think that's a pretty big problem in the captive bred chameleon community, is people, they produce an animal and then they're not truthful about it, and then they sell the animal, and then somebody says, well, this is a Simbaba, but it does not look like a Simbaba. Or this is an Ambanja and it looks nothing like Ambanja. And they just, if people were more truthful and stood up and said, okay, well, I really like this animal, it's a color morph, whatever name, or cross locality. And then we separated those two to, this is a color morph and then this is the locality. Then That just doesn't seem to happen much in the
Yeah.
hobby. People,
Yeah.
It's like
I
dog
think
breed. It's like I don't understand why, a regular poodle and then like a golden retriever, they breed those together. They call them a golden doodle. So it's like
Yep.
you can do that with chameleons too, if you want.
We need more golden doodle terminology. Is the cross, the designer cross, or something that sounds nice,
Yeah.
like
yeah.
Yeah, but it would
Because-
be quite easy, huh? We could use different terms. We say local for everything that is natural, and we
Yep.
say colomorph for everything that is not.
yes,
Yep.
So that's how we
Yep.
do it here, and it's quite easy. It would be quite easy if everyone would do it.
Yeah, we just agree on something like a doodle.
yes,
Mhm.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, I think the challenge for people becomes is like they think it's cool when they pair the animals, but then they think it's not cool when they're trying to sell them.
Yeah.
And
Right.
and then that's when they become less honest. It's like, oh my gosh, I've got to find homes for these things, right?
Yes.
And that's where then their values are tested. Because I don't think people start out with the intention to lie, right? I think that they start out pairing up two animals, thinking, oh, this will be cool. And then later, when reality hits, then they can't find a place for them. Then that's when they start lying.
Right.
Yeah.
So hopefully they hear about this up front and they just don't do it. Like don't
Let's just
don't
keep
get to that place.
Yeah, well,
Right.
definitely use y'all's website and do some comparisons.
Mm-hmm.
Look at your animal and be truthful with yourself. Does it look like these wild forms? If it does not look like that wild form, then it is a color morph. Because I
Mhm.
think y'all have done a pretty good documentation of the color variants of each locality y'all have done.
It's awesome. Yeah.
And it's not
And-
finished yet.
Yeah. Keep going. Oh, so one question I have. So Thorsten, you mentioned the town that starts with S towards the coast from Laube. Is that the direction where the blue bars used to be, or can you
Sambirano.
say that town?
Yes.
Sambirano.
Sambirano is every panther male have blue bars.
But it's a
Okay.
river.
And there's a
Actually.
river, Sambirano.
Yeah.
Yeah, Samberano is the river and the region. Both.
Okay.
Yeah. You have to.
So-
you have to jump in a boat and drive up. There are two rivers come together. This is Ramena and this is Sambirano. In this area,
Sambirano.
the panthers have blue bars.
Have blue bars. And is there a section on the website for that, or are you just not going to because of the blending?
No, we have.
That you've-
I think we have the Sambirano local and we have the
You do?
Ambanja local
Yeah.
separated.
Okay, cool. I didn't see it, but I'll check again. So it already is there, but there's some mixing because of the man-made interventions along the river.
There are not many people who go there.
Okay.
If you want
Okay,
to stay
I'll
in this
pull that up.
region, you should stay there for 2 or 3 nights. But then you have to bring
Uh-huh.
your tents, food, drinks, everything, and for
Mosquito nets.
the also.
Water for showering and toilet.
But for the most people don't go there.
Right.
No. I've been curious about the coastal region as you move from Ambilobe to the coast, and then the higher elevation to the east of the town. Can you talk to me a little bit about that? Is there any difference between those the animals that you see over there, or they all look the same?
Not anymore. The Sirama, the city which was somewhere separated, isn't separated anymore, and that's more coastal. It's in the northeast, I would say, of Ambilo Bay. And
Okay.
that's where most of the captive chameleons come from, by the way, from the street between Ambilo Bay and Sirama.
Yes.
And the road to the east, actually, there isn't a road. So nothing
There's
you
no
can
road
call,
over there?
Nothing you would call a road over here.
Okay. So to the east, it just goes mountain and
Yeah, there is
wilderness.
some Yeah, it's an area with a lot of wooden hut villages everywhere in Madagascar. It's rather wild, and there is the Tsarantanana mountains coming, the rest of the Tsarantanana mountains. So there's a separation between the east and the west, and no tourists will be there. That's more to the southern part of Umbilo Bay, and you can go east of west. Oh, let me check. This is east. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all good.
So
I get it mixed up in my head too.
From Umbilo Bay to the east, it's the direction of Wohima. There is one street which was newly paved 2 years ago. Before it was not accessible in the rainy season. Now it is. And the next local from there is the local from Wohima, which stretches to Lukianamanambatu, which is close to Daraina. That's far east. And in between, there are some rivers and there are some larger hills, maybe mountains.
Okay.
And they do separate Umbilo Bay from this Wohima region.
Yes. Yeah. So there are some animals that are at those higher elevations. There are some animals down in the coast, and it's just extremely diverse kind of habitat.
Yeah, it's only very it's not really accessible. That's the point.
Right.
Because in the region around Daraina, for example, that's closer to Wohima, there are a lot of gold diggers. So you won't walk around alone somewhere in the cattle pastures. And
Not
closer
safe.
to Umbilo Bay, it's also not the safest region to go out in the night. So you go where you usually find all the chameleons, and that's the western part, close to Siramar.
Okay.
So
That
there
makes
might be
sense.
some hidden locals somewhere. I don't know. Who knows?
If someone wants to bring an armed guard, and
Yeah.
it sounds kind of like some of the stories I've heard of people herping in Africa, where there's large animals that you're worried about, and so
No.
you really do
Which
need like
ones?
I mean, like, there's a lot of large animals in mainland Africa, and so if you go to certain places looking for reptiles, you also have to be prepared for, a hippo or, some other.
In Madagascar, we have no problems about it.
Yeah.
And no
Madagascar,
poisonous
not the same.
reptiles too.
None.
Almost not poisonous.
Okay. Just some rear fang stuff,
Yeah. But
No
they're
big
not
deal.
deadly. That's the point. You can touch everything.
What's next for you guys? What's the big project that you're working on right now?
In 2025, we want to do a tour to the northeast of Madagascar, but have nothing to do with panther chameleons. We are searching for some, some really, really rare chameleons and things that it's already in description or not yet found from biologists or whatever. We want to go to Marojiji.
cool.
This is one spot, and want to stay for 1 week in the jungle. This is a problem for the most people to go there because they have no network with their cell phones, and they go crazy because without Instagram they go crazy. That's why we have a chosen group, and with a biologist, a very famous biologist, who join us on this tour, and then we check out some for example, Kaluma pasoni Christopher, everyone knows, but in this area that we are looking for, they have also a kind of Christopher, but it looks similar, but it's no one knows what it is exactly. And
Cool.
we want to taking pictures over there and stay for a week in the jungle, shit in the bush, and something like that. Everything, what makes fun.
Hey, Thorsten,
Right.
Thorsten, you're my people.
Yeah.
I that sounds like an amazing trip.
It does.
Yes. When you see the video diary from Alex on YouTube, then you can imagine how it looks like to go up there and see animals that also we never seen before. And from the tiniest, from the brocasias to the biggest. One of my guides found also Caluma parsoni over there, but it's really a parsoni or not. We didn't know, and we have to take accurate documentation and collecting data and taking picture from every side that the biologist can say, oh, it's something new or something that they know already.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
And there are even some regions that we haven't been before. It's not a lot of regions, but there are. And they have some chameleons we have not on the website yet.
Awesome. So is that what you're going to help with, Alex? Are you going to be making sure that they're documented correctly and like getting excited about it? Always.
Of course.
Yeah. No, I really appreciate the work that you do on the website. It's like it's really good.
Yeah. The video of Alex walking through the trails is amazing. If you ever get a chance to watch it, boy, I'm like, how are they even keeping their feet underneath them? Like I would have fell many times on most of the trails that she was walking.
And if you were walking with Alex, she would have caught it on video. It would be amazing.
I think the videos were mostly about sweating and it's hot and broken toilets. But I think there were some chameleons also inside, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
But then you see people, natives, walking around you with bare feet like nothing.
It's nothing.
We wear boots.
Takes practice.
It costs $300 one pair of boots, and they walk bare feet or just with simple flip-flops, and they run through us. And why so slow?
Yeah, but in Norojiji it's more the climate, so the path is really small and really hard for us because we're not really spotted. We had to train in advance some weeks. And the Malagasy, they are just used to it, so they just run up bare feet, and they come down when you're just in the halfway up. And say, oh, hi, we're going back to the village now. And we were like, oh, and they say, no. Only half an hour, but it's in Malagasy hours, so it might be 4 or 5 German hours.
Oh.
So do you coach people?
Never trust the timing and the kilometers that a Malagasy man say to you. Never. He see that you are tired and exhausted, and it's not that far. We are arrived not that far. Yeah? And then you walk again 2 hours, like, 2 hours. And then you ask again, when we will arrive. We are now closer than 2 hours before. Of course, yes. But we are not there when we will arrive. But it's like...
Yeah, but it's also when it's not intentionally. Because in Norojiji, for example, they made the road signs, or 2 road signs actually. One at the park office and one at the park entrance in 1996. So then it was 11.9 kilometers to Camp 2 by foot. So, but in the meantime, some huge trees have fallen on the path and they don't have motor saws, so they just make new path around these trees. So the path has gotten a little longer. It's actually 20 kilometers now.
Wow.
And of course, the signs have not been corrected yet.
No. Yeah. Too easy.
It's frustrating, yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. So if people would like to join you on any of your expeditions, you recommend that they get out and exercise and get into their best they get into some good shape before they come, or
depending on the destinations.
It's really depending on the destinations. For our next tour, which is dedicated to the Panther chameleons next year in March, there you can have a normal condition and
Couch potato condition.
yeah, it's enough. It's enough.
So
It's
that's
enough.
not good for me. You shouldn't have told me that. You should tell me. No, you need to exercise, John.
Yeah, at least a year before.
That-
Yeah.
Okay.
Over
Yes,
there
for
you
a full
can
year.
do
Okay.
a lot of exercise.
Good.
When you swim
Oh.
with sea turtles, you can do exercise.
Nice. Well, thank you guys so much. Do you guys have any last questions or things that you'd like to share?
No, I mean I love the website. It is a great asset to all captive communities internationally. I'm sure everybody uses it. All
Absolutely.
the work y'all are doing is great, and I hope y'all continue to keep doing it.
We try.
Yeah.
And go to Madagascar before it's too late.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. But what would you say is too late? Is it possible to try to estimate that, or is it's just worse every year?
Depending on the location. But
Right.
for example, Ambilo Bay, there's not a protected area around, none.
Mm-hmm.
So they cut a lot of big trees, and the chameleons are getting more difficult to find. Definitely.
It seems
So
like they
that's-
put a lot of agricultural land over there in
Yes,
Ambanja.
Ambilo Bay, it's only cultural land. It's some rice fields and some mango
Corn.
trees and nothing else.
You know, I saw a few pictures, probably 2010 time frame, and there was a lot more trees.
Yes.
Yes, the mango trees, the big mango trees were cut some
Yes.
years ago. Hmm.
Yes. So wow, what a transformation over that's not that long.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's
Well-
the same at every border. So the protected areas, they are, depending on the location, well protected or not so well protected. But
Mhm.
the edges of all these national parks and reserves, they are all under a big pressure. Because people getting closer and closer and making cattle grazes and rice fields for sure. And
Yep.
other agricultural areas just from the national park. So they just cut down the forest edges and they get closer and closer. And in Marojejy, we already know there was, I think some years ago, 2 years or 1 year ago, somewhere at the end of Corona, there was a nice assessment from Malagasy people who were running around the former edges of Marojejy National Park and looked where are the edges now. And they found everywhere that people went inside the park and used pieces of the park as agricultural zones.
Oh, that's not
So the
good.
parks are getting smaller.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah. That's a whole nother podcast, I think.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Just getting into like the issues related to that, possibly some of the solutions that people are trying and what's working, what's not. So, but thank you guys so much. I really appreciated the opportunity to speak with you after all these years of being a freeloader on your website. So,
Thank you too.
Thank you. So.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank y'all so much. It was
Say
great talking.
Thank you.